So it's pretty cold today, about 39 degrees. End of October, October 28th. My brother's birthday, so happy birthday, bro. It's cold, but the wind has died down. It doesn't look too bad outside. It's definitely overcast. So I think we'll go ahead and we'll vlog today. There we go. I think many of us can say that Christmas and Thanksgiving are probably some of our favorite holidays. Maybe Christmas being the number one holiday for most people. You know, it's has a lot of childhood memories, a lot of time with your family. But if you think about it, at least when I think about it and when I reflect on my past, if I look at the favorite holidays with friends, that's definitely Halloween. The sleepovers, the trick-or-treating, the bobbing for apples, kick the can, late-night parties, and as you get older, the fun late-night parties, the music, the festivals, Oktoberfest. I don't have a full tank of gas either, so we can't be out here too long. What is this? Church. Let me get through this church traffic here. Okay, now, when I was a teenager, I should say, not necessarily young, but when I was a teenager, my mom remarried to a pretty cool guy. I like the guy, he's a pretty nice guy. They eventually got divorced, but that's not part of the story. Anyways, when I was over at their house, because I was one of those weekend kids, you don't go over there the weekend kind of thing, I was going through my stepfather's book collection and I ran across this book. It's like, oh my God, what is this? It was the most graphic book I've ever seen. I asked Rick was his name, I asked Rick a couple questions about the book, and he started telling me some tales, and it got me into reading the book. And the book was about, if you haven't guessed it already, Edward Gein. Edward Gein was this, I won't go into the whole story because I'll probably get it wrong, being on a motorcycle, recalling it from memory. But anyways, he's famous for skinning, I know at least one female he brought, or he got, and I think there was probably more, but he would butcher them like a deer, skin them. He would wear their skin as clothing. I don't want to get too graphic. Last year, just my simple video on YouTube got flagged, so I can't get too graphic here. But in the book, it had absolutely the actual photos from the crime scene, and I couldn't believe my eyes. It was like virtually my first, I shouldn't say my first, but it was probably one of the horror events in my life that was actually true, you know, other than movies and stuff like that. It brought it home a little bit more. And I've always been fascinated by that whole story. And later on, of course, in Wisconsin, we have Jeffrey Dahmer, which is another wacko. However, anyways, what I wanted to do this year was take a ride out to Ed Gein's property and see his go out to the cemetery that he was at, maybe kind of vlog out there. Sounds kind of dark and grotesque, but I was kind of going for that anyways, being Halloween and all. So I started doing some research, and I find out that it's actually 3 or 4 hours away, and I would love to do that trip. Excuse me, yawning. Anyways, I couldn't get the time. I couldn't get the time to get away. That'd be like a 6-hour day just on the bike, the time there, and any breaks and stuff like that. It's a pretty long day. Not that I wouldn't love to do that, but I just waited too long and I just ran out of time and I couldn't do it. But in my research, it was kind of interesting. Going out to the cemetery, I started looking at YouTube videos, and if you're interested in this, go ahead and look at some of those YouTube videos. The story that I see on YouTube is that somebody had stolen Ed Gein's tombstone. And they eventually found it, I don't know, California or Oregon or something like that, I can't remember. And from what I understand, where it ended up, they were making charcoal rubbings on it and selling it for, you always have to wave to the cops, by the way, and selling it for about 50 bucks. Anyways, they were able to track it down. I think that's how they tracked it down. And they were able to bring it back. So instead of putting it back on display, or not on display, but instead of putting it back on his gravesite, I guess it's in some museum somewhere, locked up in a closet, no, not for anybody's view. And if you go out to the cemetery, there's a blank spot between his mother and his brother, who some say Edward possibly murdered his brother as well, but that's all a fictional story, of course. Anyways, that was going to be my plan, and then I was actually researching the property as well, but it seems like the property started on fire, maybe an arson thing or something like that, so there's really not much there. And I believe the person who owned the property afterwards is selling it, or was selling it, for quite a bit of money, and I don't think there's really anything there. So my drive up there, I'm not sure if it would have been very fruitful or if I would have even actually seen anything. But it is a motorcycle trip and it would have been fun regardless. So I'm kind of bummed that I waited so long and I just didn't get to do it. So anyways, it's a lesson learned. Don't procrastinate on your vlogs. Now, I am at 9,000 miles for this season. We'll call it season 2. 2017. I did most of it on my previous bike, obviously, and I have the 1,000 miles on this. If I get that second 1,000 miles, I'll have 10,000 miles in for the season, which is what I had last year. Last year I put 10,000 miles on as well. So hopefully we'll keep riding and the weather will be decent enough. So everybody take care. And have fun, and we will see you in the next one.